Who came out on top of the roster swaps? That's what we are here to determine, and it is a close call, 2-2 between Simplicity and Gale Force Esports. J-How, who do you think is going to take it?
I don't know. I think a lot of it will depend on Battleground for me, which I'm eagerly awaiting. Like, we don't even have their cheat screen yet.
Yeah. Full sky. Hello? You hear it too, right? I hear it. Let's see what it is. Full sky.
If only. If only. And Gale Force turning it around here, giving first pick over to Simplicity. And this is a very traditional Battleground. A little different setup in terms of lane prioritization, but I think what we've seen through maybe the first 3 games, Towers of Doom obviously its own little special map there, but I think we'll probably see another highly contested game. Neither team, maybe Gale Force in the second game pretty much had control, but nobody's really come out and made a statement yet in terms of like, look, it's about 8 kills to 1. I got 2 or 3 level lead. It's been a pretty highly contested series so far.
Yeah, it has been very close, and I don't know. I don't really feel like I had any sort of expectations for this series. I feel like next series, there's a bit more of what I'm expecting to see, but even that, LFM could surprise us.
I already know what you're thinking. That's terrible. But it's expected. It's expected. But this one, the unexpected, I think, in terms of, like you said, who's going to come out? And right now, as you said, there's only 5 weeks before the first clash. So everyone matters. And we saw Gale Force at the beginning of Phase 2. They came out hot, cooled off quite a bit. And the OGs here, now under Simplicity, they're looking to say, look, we're not washed up yet, as you'd all alluded to in the pregame interview.
Yeah, I feel like this series sets the tone for Simplicity so much as far as motivation. I brought up the question of drive for this team. This team is full of old school playmakers. They are the old gods. They alluded to that when they named themselves before they were picked up. If they could win this series over a formidable opponent like Gale Force, that does a lot for motivation to continue on, keep trying to improve, keep working on the teamwork and synergy together. But for Gale Force too, they want revenge over teammates, no doubt about it.
They don't want Hanzo anymore. That was a very fast bit. Sometimes you're like, look, let's take time. We'll figure out what our draft's going to be. Nope, no, we're just keeping the brothers off the battlefield.
Yeah, that is cool. But Hosty, the long max range dragon arrows that were able to stop things, ETC back, he's still winning every game he's played in North America. And now he's in the hands of Gale Force and Fury.
4 games we've seen Simplicity prioritize the support either last pick or in their last rotation. Lucio is still here. Wow,
he's here
on the Stukov train.
They get support, but it's not him. K1 Pro, there was a match last year when he was he on Gale Force or B-Step? Gale Force, because it was at the Clash. And he played Massive Shove Stukov, which not happening here, but he even, when he was playing, dabbling in the secondary support, was playing Stukov. So I had a feeling that that would be maybe the first main comfort hero for him.
It's worked out well.
It has?
I mean, it's worked out really well. I think the play that we've seen from his Stukov has definitely been standout. The Alex Straza game was good, but Stukov, so far this is our 3rd Stukov game I believe for him in this series, and it's worked out really well.
From downtown. That was an awesome play.
That was
We've
pretty
had
sick.
So many good highlight reel plays this series. It's insane.
There's the Lucio. Not going to make it past the second ban phase. I think a solid pickup all the way around. Prioritizing the global with Tahaka, who will do well on that top lane. Again, we haven't seen Sonya yet. Maybe we'll see Malthael on the other side. I think Urho tends to play more of the warrior style in terms of like Leoric, kind of the bigger, beefier ones. Sonya, I don't know where he sits yet with Sonya, but I think Leoric might be up there. I haven't seen Tyrael yet. This isn't necessarily a Tyrael map. So I think that we might be looking at potentially a Leo. At worst, a Malthael or Sonya to kind of fit that top lane.
For now, at least, considering the Gul'dan ban, there's already a lot of good things happening for Gale Force. They have that solid top laner in Dahaka. They have ETC and Lucio for fast rotations looking for ganks, and Gul'dan in rotating can keep the waves pushed heavily towards Simplicity's base.
Are you surprised that we haven't even seen a hint of Vala at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, she went from being, her and Greymane were like top 2. Hanzo comes out, kind of mixes that up, which I like. She just doesn't exist.
How much was she played? I'm trying to remember how much she was played at GCWC. I thought she was falling off even then too, but I might be misremembering. There's been some holidays that have happened in between. Some new heroes came out, but it is interesting that she's been replaced with other arrow wielders.
It's a good reference. I like that.
Thanks. They're really quite similar. Hungering Arrow and Stormbow, and then multi-shot scatter arrow.
If only it bounced. I'm gonna have to talk to some
Stormbow?
No, the multi-shot. If it bounced. I have to talk to some Blizzard people. Listen, can you just make this bounce? How easy is that? Can you just make it bounce?
I can just imagine this random email. Well, all the hope returns in one Frost Mage and in a Garrosh. This is a different Garrosh than what terrorized HGC North America in Phase 2 Part 2. No pulls, but you do have the stuns, and you are going to dissuade people from standing close to your towers and sieging there.
I will say this. When I researched all the ETC players from North America and Europe going into BlizzCon, of all 6 that I had taken stats for, Fury was the one that power slid the most. Talked about this maybe in a video I made a short while ago, where the aggression that we see from Europe, it's more of a divide and conquer. They'll come into the middle, bump away, and then slide back to safety. Fury is much more on the other side of things, where he loves to go in, call targets, get those blow-ups. Garrosh is the one hero you absolutely cannot do that against. And so I wonder, will Fury have that reservation when it comes to making those slides on that front line? Boy, we are creating a brand new meta here as Kerrigan coming back out for the 2nd time this series. Love the Tychus pickup, by the way. Love the Tychus pickup against Garrosh.
Yes. His ability to ignore armor when he's using his minigun is going to be really nice as Garrosh gets armor. The tankier and tankier he gets, or the further down in health he gets, which makes him very tanky. Still need a top laner.
Kerrigan's going to have to be careful. The same way that ETC, if Kerrigan goes in, he gets tossed backwards, he's got to make sure he has his Q available. He's got to have that escape option, and you don't have Bolt till 20. So the play will be scary. You have the flailing swipe from Stukov. Jaina, though, is going to be the vulnerable target on the backside.
So after a throw from Garrosh, you have the slows from Jaina. She can hit those really quickly and start getting that chill going. Stukov potentially flailing swipes as a way of isolating everyone else away for an isolation kill. And Leoric has the possibility of doing that too.
We've seen a lot of Water Elemental. Once Kerrigan's done with mobility, she's kind of stuck, has to walk away. ETC, kind of the same way. Lucio's kind of the only X factor there, but Tychus, the mobility, once it's there, it's gone. But we have an AoE taunt from Garrosh. Will we maybe see a ring? I mean, you get 2 people in there. 2 is better than 1.
There's quite a lot of melee as a possibility of hitting several of those and then Ring of Frost. I don't know. Well, we've got a different Jaina player, so that's already something to consider. If you would play that instead. Was it Water Elemental both Jaina games? Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of places that you're going to be getting in fights over where you're going to want to have the Ring of Frost, but at the same time, it's Dragonshire, so you're often going to be getting more into skirmishes. It may favor better to drop Water Elemental and then be able to have the mobility thanks to the slowing of that.
But Ring of Frost makes the better highlights.
True. That's it. That's all it is. There's only one choice now, Hosty, and it must be Ring of Frost.
That it's confirmed Hosty's on Jaina?
Yep.
Wow.
Let's do it, guys. Winner of this game wins the first series of HGC North America. Will it be Gale Force Esports, or will it be Simplicity, the old gods? We find out now.
Wow, they are mixing it up here. Hosty, all eyes on you, buddy.
See if we have a change in build as a result. It was a great Fingers of Frost choice again on this map.
Yeah, plenty of globes, especially with the changes. Globe talents for all you convection pickers. Maybe consider Mana Addict out there if you're playing Kalthos.
Oh,
New globe changes. I hear they're pretty decent.
Pretty good. Gale Force will take advantage of those two, having Dash yet again, and Prog Rock with ETC. And there it is, Fingers of Frost.
Gilly, are you a convection or Mana Addict picker?
Mana Addict.
Whew, okay, we can still
be friends.
We can still be friends, because you know.
Thank you.
Urho, again, as predicted on the Leoric, it seems to fit his playstyle.
And as maybe predicted too, Gale Force are looking to gain.
There it is.
that.
That's what they wanted. Yep. They were baiting it out. Ooh, the stun missed.
Did miss.
But
throw. He's gonna go down anyway.
That was really well played. A little bit of overcommitment by Urho. You could see they were waiting. If you're going for ganks, wait for those people, those heroes that have the unstoppable to use it, because once it's gone, easy picks.
They're looking for a second one too, but they're gonna find a lot more of Simplicity here than maybe they were wanting to contend with. Excellent first pick from Gale Force. It is, if nothing else, going to at least scare Simplicity, scare Urho into playing more safely, and that allows for the Dahaka player, for B-Kid, on Gale Force to be potentially more aggressive. But just so far, quite a lot of rotations, and again, early camp prioritization.
You don't get trait value by being safe on Leoric. Come on, Gilly.
How dare I?
Come on.
Leoric, Tyrael.
Already 5 globes for Jaina. Just a couple minutes in, make that 6, just 2 minutes in. Gonna have that bonus damage real early. Siege camps, of course, are picked up. They're gonna be cleaned up here. A little bit of structure damage goes down. But right now, I think we're gonna play to a stalemate. As you can see, the night camp up at the top, get in a bit of pressure.
Yeah, the night camp's there for Gale Force in the top. Also, they're working on the night camp in the bottom, too. As Akaface comes in to deliver some much-needed heals to Michael Udall. Simplicity don't get a pick on B-Kid. B-Kid playing really safely, knowing that his team is focused on this bottom lane, knowing that they are able to just trade out on the shrine so that they can get this big benefit here in the bottom lane. They've already cleared out the Giants of Simplicity. Simplicity got those very early on into the game. So now having these bruisers who can start to go up, put some pressure, put some damage onto these towers, maybe give them some space to make a quick rotation somewhere else and get a pick, or just get their Giants behind this too. It's a nice response from Gale Force.
Bigger they are was picked up again to, again, rip through the garage.
Leo too.
And Leo. It's very similar to the style they had before. Now we see the siege camp being picked up here by Gale Force, and I think in return we're going to see on the minimap, there it is, Greymane and Jaina. Again, a lot of camp prioritization with these new changes, but this is Dragonshire where not a lot's changed. It's just the way that the style has changed, that, like, around all maps, but it kind of transitions over here that we see a lot of different camp prioritization on every battleground now.
That's been a really fun thing to get to witness, and I'm excited to see other teams too, and see if that, you know, if teams develop certain strategies that are unique to themselves as a result of that. Gale Force feels like they have constantly been in control of the rotations of Simplicity. They are dealing with the bruisers in the top lane. With a lot of members up in the top, Simplicity just rotates down to the bottom. Nothing really breaking out too much past that first early kill on Urho. A lot of respect in this last game. Understanding that the winner of this game is the one that takes the series.
You know, Gilly, when there's no camps on the map and it's a double point objective, eventually you got to make something happen. Simplicity's just going to walk right up, do some damage, but we're going to have a fight or something here. This is Dragonshire. Sometimes has a little bit of a slow start, depending on team compositions.
No boombox pickup for Akaface, getting Sonic Amplifier. Radius increased for Crossfade as long as 2 heroes are in Crossfade at the start of hitting, starting Amp It Up.
Pretty even so far.
That is interesting, but I guess it makes sense. There's so many melee heroes for Gale Force having the double sort of, well, double tank and then a melee assassin too, making sure that it can still reach back into Tychus. The fight's finally about to break out as Mike goes in with another Ravage and takes out Stukov. Now Simplicity still chasing down Gale Force. There are some lower members in health, so they'll get on back.
That was one of the key points for Udall on Kerrigan, is to make sure whether that silence is there to have that Q available. He was in deep, he held on to it, he used it immediately when he knew he had the kill potential, got the reset on that, jumped to a minion away. Just fantastic play by Udall. It's the small things sometimes that you just kind of have to appreciate. These players, they know they're not willing to be too aggressive too early, know their limits. Very well done. You
know, I was just thinking about it and I realized that one of the next teams to play is Space Station Gaming, who has Equinox on it. I wonder if this is just going to be a day for Kerrigan.
Everybody's going to play Kerrigan. The bladed momentum, man. When that thing gets going, see the Impale getting a couple of the sharpened blades. Getting that quick cooldown reduction. Once you take down the mage, then your abilities do much more damage. They're full value.
Oh, kill on Leoric in the top.
I think we should rephrase that to trait value in top.
Okay.
You're welcome.
P-Kid also, I guess, getting trait value, and then he gets essence. It's all trait value here in North American HGC. That does give a little bit of a power play. And, ooh, throw in the stun. Solo sound barrier.
It's never the way you want to use it, but it's better than giving up a kill right now and
Definitely.
Potentially giving up that Dragon Knight. There's the isolation. B-Kid, there's no interrupt, so he's going to use that Brush Stalker to get on out of danger. So we saw the gank potential was there. What is
the water elemental?
Oh, it's it's so big on the menu.
I know.
I was like, what is? Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah. The Dragon Knight does get claimed, even with Dahaka leaving the top. Simplicity just couldn't get that shrine in time, so first Dragon Knight of the game for Gale Force, and things seem to be going the way of every other game in this series, with the exception of Towers of Doom. Gale Force starting to just get ahead here and there, little bits of increase in experience or being able to get picks here and there. So far has been on Airho. We'll see if Simplicity now, though, having their heroic abilities, can start to bring things back, look for the team fight that can get them ahead.
The incremental value, just such a big point of the top tier
Yes,
team.
that's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
The incremental value is just one of those things when you look at the top teams throughout the world, there's always going to be that moment. The big plays will happen naturally, but you don't have to force them. And if you just continue to get there, it makes it a lot easier when you get that level advantage, when you get that talent tier advantage. And that's a lot of the pluses that we've seen, despite it being 2-2, that Gale Force has made happen through this first series.
Gale Force finishes out using the Dragon Knight just to take out a tower in the top. This will help out when they are looking at keeping the solo laner there, having it be able to push that lane into his advantage. Keeps B-Kid being able to keep a hold of that shrine longer and then potentially stalking elsewhere, or even being able to get the Dragon Knight, just giving them more mobility. And they're going to use their mobility, at least, to take the siege camp of Simplicity, as Simplicity went and got their bruisers.
Yeah, the slow is there, the throw over, the knock up. There's a little bit of burst damage. There's no way he lives through that, but we're going to see Gale Force turn their attention. K1 Pro, nice slide over. Gets a nice burst heal, flailing swipe. I don't think they have the tools to get back. Nicely done, K1 Pro.
Wow, I am amazed. Even as Mike sent out, he had the impaling blades for the stun, even as he sent out, just to make sure that he could catch K1 Pro. But using flailing swipe, both of the supports for the teams here getting ganked at some point and being able to survive on their own devices. Gale Force knew that they weren't going to be able to save B-Kid Didn't really even move up like they were going to try to do that. If he got out, but he was on his own. Tried to get something done elsewhere. That is something that Gale Force has been excelling at for a long time. Something that Michael Udall really likes to do in his shot calling is be able to make those calls and say, we're just going to push somewhere else. We've nearly taken down that fort in the bottom. That might be an opening for them to try to get further ahead in this game.
Priority on the mage there. Zuna trying to make the plays as they push in here on the bottom. The well's going to go down, which can be a pretty big deal in the long term, especially the bottom shrine contention, where having that heal to fall back to is always good. And we see the Odin coming out here in defense. We might have a stage dive coming in here in a minute because that is available.
Yeah, I was looking for that, looking for the stock too, neither of which gets used. It's the Odin just to push away Simplicity from doing anything else in the bottom lane while they could clear out that mercenary camp. Bottom controlled by Simplicity, top held by Gale Force Esports. We're back to the standoff of Dragonshire for the next phase of the Dragon Knight.
There's so much more blow-up potential now. And Fingers of Frost was finished for Jaina. She's at about 10K out of 15K to get that improved ice block. But Kerrigan and everybody on board here, it is a much more tense game the later this goes as these start to unlock. And who's going to be the first to flinch?
Michael Udall's in trouble, has the taunt. The water elemental is still there too. Isn't really able to build up any sort of shielding, and Sound Barrier just barely not in time for the save. Gale Force Esports now on the retreat, but the Entomb's going to keep him from doing that. Fantastic job by Araho from that. Gale Force separating out. B-Kid is the one who is thrown back to the team and looks the most likely to fall next. Simplicity gets 2 kills.
They've turned it around post-10, Gilly. They've got themselves a lead after being down a tiny bit, giving up some structure value, but they're starting to take control of the game. Leoric, see on the mini-map, moving his way to the top while that camp's pushing in. Should be able to take that fort. Akafe's in response, taking the bottom shrine to at least buy a little bit of time. He's not willing to fully commit to the capture.
Yeah, now that 13 is there having a virulent reaction for the root from that, that gives so much more follow-up from a Garrosh combo even past the taunt from that. And this is only going to get worse as Simplicity rounds 16. We've seen Numbing Blast every time from the Jaina player. This is a different Jaina player for Simplicity, but being able to have that root from there too, really, if you get thrown like that, you're just not going to make it back to the team, and that does force Gale Force to come in and fight them on Simplicity's terms.
Pushing in here, taking down the second fort of the game is Simplicity, also getting themselves 16 in the process as they push in with this. 3-3 in kills, but nothing stands out just yet. You see the mini-map, ETC, of course, in that top lane, not willing to commit to stay there much longer as the gang squad of Simplicity comes up to greet him, and he's like, I don't want any part of this. I'm going to go party over here.
Was that ETC?
Yes, it is.
That was amazing.
You're welcome. I didn't even know I could do that.
I'll give you a...
I think that's one of his voice lines.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. It's pretty good.
Wait till you hear my butcher.
Oh, I'll pass.
That's another fort down for Simplicity, taking control of this game. Uraho's like, can my team get down here in time? Nah, I'm just going to be a spooky ghost and scare off this Kerrigan and Dahaka.
16 is here for both of the teams. Tunneling Claws may be the difference between life and death for B-Kid now. He was the focus before with the throw of Garrosh. We talked about the lockdown that comes after that. There's also Alpha Killer now too that can bring him down even faster. He doesn't have adaptation from that. And he probably just get bursted straight through that and how fast they can bring someone down. So for him, he's going to need to make sure that he can get the Tunneling Claws on lock. And Sound Barrier. Sound Barrier was too late in the last time to be able to save the target of Simplicity's burst. So they have to be working together if Gale Force Esports want to get through this Garrosh, Greymane, Jaina combo of doom.
It's fun watching this right now because they both have the same mentality of we need to get this pick. We need to get a kill. We need to force something. They travel together, did Simplicity down to the bot lane. Gale Force kind of hung out in that middle bush. They're looking to get that burst in. Both of them have instant blow-up potential, whether it's Kerrigan on one side, Jaina on the other. There's just a lot that goes into this. But now here in the bottom, Gale Force is going to have to respond as there's a siege camp pushing, and you do not want to start giving up these late game structures as Simplicity building up a lead. We'll see how much further they can make it by taking down this bottom keep wall.
Yeah, this bottom lane is everything on Dragonshire, thanks to the triple camp presence here and the absence of the death bridge that is in the top lane. Shrines will be activating in 20 seconds behind this, so it's all about what Simplicity can get done in this time with the Bruisers and the Siege Giants they still have here. Big E pops Odin just for the extra siege, and Simplicity are happy enough just to burn that cooldown, but they'll back off and get set up for the Shrine phase.
Such a small thing, but such a big impact on the overall battleground in the sense that they get another Dragon Knight. It opens up, that was not a play on word, but she's giving me the look, but it opens up the potential to take a keep. And then opening up that keep, having that top or bottom lane control, as you said, it's always about that bot lane. That's going to be the highest priority. There's 3 camps that potentially push that. Having control and vision is where it's at. So if they can get that with 20, then Simplicity has a firm hold on this game.
Yeah, and it's a frustrating position for Gale Force to be in because they've lost all of their forts. They have to contend a lot more with the minion waves, the mercenary camps, and that gives Simplicity vision over the rotations that Gale Force makes, and it makes them slower to the uptake in being able to claim shrines. They did a lot of damage to this bottom fort. This helps them in 2 ways. It helps them equalize out the structure differential that I just talked about, but also in experience too. Those forts are experience in the bank that they can try to take down and make sure they're keeping up with the race to 20.
For those of you that didn't quite catch all the changes with the latest ones, that auxiliary tower that used to be there, secondary tower by the fort, the experience was distributed to the fort and the 2 towers as well as the damage. So that experience that used to be there is a little bit more now late game, since that tower is no longer there, kind of got spread out a bit.
Trade on the shrines. That also is an important thing for Simplicity to keep in mind. There's no global for Simplicity. So Dahaka with a potential Apex Predator, not sure if he'll go for that because he is, we saw Contagion in prior games and he is, he's getting focused a lot, so it might also be that he wants Essence Claws just to make sure that he has his Essence up. There's a lot of different choices there, but Apex Predator could be a thorn in the sides of Simplicity trying to claim a Dragon Knight post 20 for Gale Force.
I actually like what we saw there from Dahaka. He was taking out one of the sidewalls top lane. The sidewalls give you vision, a very narrow point, but it makes pathing through there. It makes sneaking in that top lane, getting that vision control, and just kind of hanging out there. Because if you're showing in multiple ways, it makes it easier for Simplicity to try and get that gank. So taking out that sidewall, like that call.
Really interesting 20s here. Death Wish. Is that the norm for Garrosh? Am I just going crazy? Seems different, but
that reset.
Yeah, I usually see the Titanic Mine, I think is what it's called, with the double flip. But having the reset for that, for sure, really does feel like it's all about just trying to get the last blow up to end the game, especially once again having Buried Alive.
Leoric finally moving towards the top. B-Kid's going to greet him there as we see the rest of Simplicity on the minimap getting the camp. That will give them that lane control, that vision control, and in response, Gale Force on the minimap getting the bottom shrine. They're just trading out, both teams with 20. Here we go.
Ring around the rosy on Dragonshire. Both teams have a lot of respect for their opponents, for what this game means. Seems fitting that getting all the way to Game 5, we would go to Dragonshire, where we're just waiting for one thing to bust this game wide open.
Udall holding on to his 20.
It might be this. They're separated. They're split.
They're definitely split. They're pinging. They're like, guys, let's go in.
Odin
is out there looking for a fight. The drag's going to be on to Zuna, who's running for his life. And there he goes. The flailing swipe is going to save him for the moment.
So good. Now, silence on Kerrigan, but she's fine. She's got Maelstrom going. She's just ready to auto attack until they can delete Airho. Flailing swipe again, tries to push back Gale Force. Those were the charges. He's so close to going down. Kevin throws back, has the Bloodthirst. He is living for the moment, but finally, Gale Force takes him out. 2 kills for nothing.
He almost clutched it out by getting that stun on that throw. Instead, we got 2 members on the side of Simplicity. Down, Gale Force, they're not even moving towards the top shrine. They are looking at a keep here, Gillen.
Big silence hit a lot of Gale Force. They do want to set up that catapult pressure. They do end up backing off.
no Apex. Because if he had Apex, you would imagine he'd already be back at the top, getting that top shrine. So it was a good call at the time, but in the long run, not able to get there. ETC with stage dive is actually going to be the one to go to the top. Dahaka will clear. Good use of their globals for the moment, but that does open the window for Simplicity to go back and take the bottom shrine.
Well, Yorick's back, but Garrosh is not. There was the Entomb again, but Zuna's going to go down this time. Gale Force Esports catch Simplicity out before they have Garrosh back. Now Stukov is in so much danger. Posty will do what damage he can, but this looks to be the end of the game this time as Hosty falls. There's still a keep up. Gale Force Esports need to get in and take that down quickly, but with 45 seconds left, 50 seconds left until the support's back, Gale Force Esports is looking to close out this series.
Look, we were playing a different game, but Michael Udall walked in there and he's like, get over here, and just straight grabbed on. Gale Force goes in, and that was a magnificent way to play the I guess, commitment towards there, but double global, good use of that. Gale Force Esports coming out here in a best of 5. Cores falling, that is going to be Gale Force taking the series, Gilly. I am impressed by both these teams regardless of the turnout here.
Yes, both of them played phenomenally, and it was awesome to get to see this pseudo grudge match between old teammates go all the way to Game 5. Gale Force Esports seemed to be in a lot of danger when they went for the bottom bruisers. They had been caught by Simplicity, but the cool under pressure, knowing that it was going to take that they had to fight. There's just no way. They knew they had been caught with their pants down, I guess, so they swoop around. They have the stage dive in so they can get into a better position. That was phenomenal. Pushed in, had maybe some, couldn't quite decide if they should just keep pushing in at that point or if they should try to make the safe play. Weren't able to get the Dragon Knight, but did go back and realize, hey, you don't have Garrosh back. You don't have your frontliner back. You should not be out this far, and punishing again, and that was awesome. Gale Force deserved that win.
The recognition each time by Gale Force. 3-2, sure, in the end, but outside of the Towers of Doom game, we look at all 4 games. I mean, it could have just as easily been a 3-0. We ended up getting ourselves a treat of a 3-2 in a best of 5, but Gale Force, a lot of positive things to take away from this series. Same can be said about Simplicity as well, though.
Yeah, both teams really, really good. Simplicity, we finally got to see K1 Pro and how he's doing on the support. Had a lot of great Stukov plays, and the synergy between King Caffeine and K1 Pro still very much on point. The aggression from both of the teams was a huge highlight of the series.
Yeah, the Jaina pick, though, for me, is one of the ones that I just flat out did not expect. If you were to ask me, give me about 30 heroes that you expect in the meta on day one, Jaina probably would not be one of those. You could say 40 or 50, I probably would say Jaina's probably not going to be on there. But they seem to have a liking towards that. Some highs, some lows on it. We'll see if they continue to do that in their future series, though.
And always Water Elemental with
both
of the Jaina players that they had.
Again, I think Dunk Train, obviously, former pro player, like the guy he was talking about just the other day. The mobile meta that we play in does make it a little bit harder. We thought maybe with Garrosh, with the AoE taunt, you can set up something, but it seems to be having pretty good effect in those skirmishes. And it does help, but it didn't quite seal the deal in a lot of these games.
Well, let's talk about ETC while we're waiting to hear from Gale Force Esports.
It's a 1-0-0.
What?
1-0-0, 100%.
Oh. I was like 1-0-0. What are you talking about, J-How? Yeah, 100% in the series, only banned in 1 of the games out of the 5. And looks like he's still at the top of the tanks.
Yeah, not surprising. He's such a big playmaker. We're not in double support meta anymore, so he tends to shine a little bit more. Getting those single target opportunities is something that he excels in, splitting that, getting the power slide in, has the self-heal, has the armor. It just took a little bit of time to figure it out. Double support not really helping out there anymore, so a lot more opportunities for ETC.
Yeah, they had a lot of blow-up potential for the team. But Kerrigan is another question mark for me. Is this a Michael Udall special that we're getting, or is this a hint of things to come, just like the Jaina?
I'm not even mad about that. He made some plays. Again, you go back to that Infernal Shrines game, you can look at the damage numbers and be like, oh, Michael Udall didn't do great. I got news for you. He made the plays when it mattered. It's the same way. If you land the combos and you're setting up for your team, that's when it matters. It's not about topping damage meters. It's the same way you look at Illidan. Are you making plays for your team? And he did that in both those games.
Well, let's see if we can check in now with Michael Udall, the Kerrigan player himself, as Gale Force Esports wins the first series. Hey, Mike, congratulations. We saw your Kerrigan play, and we saw some Jaina play. Are those two heroes that you think we should be expecting to see more of?
Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah, Kerrigan one trick. That's me. Wait, my teammates forced me to do the interview. None of them want to did it. Help.
That's okay. We get to see your shining face. It's awesome to see you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's good to be back. It was a good match. Honestly, it was really well fought by both teams. Like shout out to King Calf, K1, former teammates of mine. It's kind of funny, K1 and I kept bantering back and forth between the games of like rip my KDA, rip your KDA. So it was a lot of fun.
Did you guys expect for that series to be as close as it was?
I mean, we knew they were a good team. I don't know if we thought it'd go to game 5. I definitely think we probably expected like 4 games. But shout outs to them, just like really bringing it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really fun to get to cast. So thank you for that. I'll send you over to Jayha.
Michael, I have seen you guys seem to take a different approach towards this season in your gameplay style. You're not relying as heavily on the globals, and you seem to be more decisive. Take me through your mindset coming into this year with this new roster and the way that you want this team to evolve this year.
I mean, first off, Jay, it's awesome to see you on the cast, dude. I'm so happy for you. It's freaking awesome. I mean, so team mindset, I mean, a big thing that our whole team is just about is improving, right? Like at the end of the day, win or loss, like we just want to constantly be trying to improve and have like good atmosphere, good vibes, which it's been awesome, right? It's been like a very healthy atmosphere, and I think everyone's having a really good time. So as far as shot calling goes, I actually feel like I really stepped it up this year in shot calling. Last year, I feel like I was disappointed in myself and just not having the confidence in myself as a shot caller. So like I would call something and be like, well, I don't know, which is a terrible thing to do in voice comms, right? And I feel like now I'm just like on Sky Temple, I was like, stage dive, like just go on the stage, let's go. And it worked out great, right? So I mean, like, and that's props to Fury, just like following the call and just doing it. So I mean, and I think a lot of that comes from kind of our mentality, right? Like, if we win, we're not terrible players. Like if we don't win, we're not terrible players, right? So there's like less stress, at least on me personally. Like I don't feel like I have as much stress as I did last year, where it was like, we're supposed to be a dream team, we're supposed to be like the hope of NA. And we obviously weren't, right? And I just feel like the team atmosphere is really conducive to like everyone just being really decisive and just going for it.
And where do you see yourself in the NA region? It seems from watching scrims and stuff, we have a lot of really talented teams. Simplicity definitely looks strong, and you guys fought really well. You come out with a victory. Obviously, 5 weeks of HGC play before the Clash. Where do you guys see yourself right now and your potential?
I mean, so kind of how I view NA is I think it's like there's like 7 teams, and then there's like Team Freedom, which is like way below everyone else, So I'm so excited to smash them on Sunday.
Goodness gracious, okay.
It's gonna be hype.
I knew you were going there, and I appreciated it. I'm looking forward.
Team Freedom's really good. Team Freedom's really good. I'm excited. I think like Tempo, Team 12, us, and then Team Freedom, I think, and Heroes Hearth, I think like all 5 of us, depending on the day, could take a game off each other, or like win a series versus each other. So I'm hyped.
Well, before I let you go, give some shout outs. What is your prediction for that match versus Team Freedom? What's the score going to be?
I think it's going to be game 5, 3-2 us. We win. So,
all right.
Yeah. Shout outs. Shout out to all my teammates, B-Kid, Big Impact, Akaface, and Fury. I came out of retirement for you. So, I'm happy we won. Shout out to all our fans. Seriously, thank you guys all so much. Thank you for supporting us. Spam some feedalls in chat. A lot of us stream. I think I stream on Michael Udall. Biggie streams on Big Impact. Fury's streaming soon TM. And then B-Kids streams on B-Kids too. So, check that out. Also, shout out to Gale Force and our sponsors and, the amazing Gunners. Can never forget about it.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Congrats again, Mike.
Thank you. You guys have a great rest of your day.
You too. Go celebrate or something.